The proper use of science is not to conquer nature, but to live in it. This is well achieved when thoughtful and committed citizens come together to apply the knowledge and the skill.
I'm Kennedy Otieno, a teacher for MCO, Madare Community Outreach, and a head teacher at the same time. Madare Community Outreach, it was started to reach out to the vulnerable families that are around. And actually it is one of the oldest schools around. It started back in 1994. So you can calculate it is almost 30 years old. Yeah. So it was just started because the children around were loitering around, and it was started on a charity note to help the vulnerable families, being that we are in the Madare slums, actually the heart of the Madare slums. So it was just to help the children and the parents who couldn't manage to take their children to the better schools. Madare is one area that if you're not familiar with it, we know all the stories that have been in Madare. But you guys, you've been here and you've seen how peaceful it is. If I may go back to this school, it has transformed so many lives. Our school being one of them, because we offer the feeding program. Sometimes it is not enough, but you saw it today, us giving children chapati and tea. Yeah, so that one is one way of maybe keeping the hope of the community and the children. I think I've known Anna for a year now or more. I will say that Anna is one lady that is going out her way to see this thing or the project itself being successful. Anna has worked tirelessly to bring other peoples on board. Example is the TV we are talking to now, and we have other partners that were brought on board to help see the community successful. Example, Anna is working with the youths around. We have one Chuom, we have the Madare downtown, and other groups. The groups is working with mostly consists of the youths, and by making the youths busy in one way or the other, it is advantage to us and advantage to them, because they will not again get into all these things we talked about, the drugs, the robbery around and the rest. And the idea of making the youths to sustain themselves, maybe by baking bread, baking the cakes around, and maybe distributing to the vendors around, is also making them earn something.
My name's Lelek. I am originally German, but I've been quite fortunate in my life. Right now I study in the UK, and with my family I actually lived in India for a while, and also the US. So I grew up having to go from one place to another, but I've loved it. So I've been really, really fortunate, and that's why I've wanted to come here as well and travel and meet different cultures and different people. This project actually started 2 years ago in November of 2020, and I've just always been really fascinated in finding sustainable solutions to things that I see, just issues that I see around like my school, around the community that I am at home, but also of course living in India. There's a lot of challenges with waste, especially with waste and with poverty. So I've always been really interested in finding a way that we can connect technology and the community to somehow come up with a sustainable solution. And especially with charities, I always was never quite sure how to be involved and if that was the type of work I'd want to do. So I wanted to find a way that's more sustainable, community involved, where rather than just coming in with a project, you're working with the community to find a solution. So I met Priyanka Doshi at university, and she's actually born and raised in Nairobi. So together we came up with this project idea. Incinerator. So what that means is there's this difference between burning and incinerating, where incinerating is when you burn rubbish at over 800 degrees Celsius, so between 800 and 1200 degrees Celsius. And by doing that, the toxic gases and fumes are almost completely eliminated. So when we're incinerating, there's no more carcinogenics, all of the smog that you see when you burn on the street, that's all removed. So what happens is you just left with white gas that's almost fully combusted and ash. And the ash, for example, you can lose in the latrines. It's even being tested as well to be put as fertilizer. So there's different things that can be done with it. And actually the Kenyan, the US and the UK environmental standards are all met. It's been tested and it's sustainable and clean. Specifically use plastics, papers, cardboard and cloth as well. So those are the main ones that we use. We can collect, if other things are added in garbage collections, if they're brought to us, we just separate it, and that's okay. So we're all trained in recycling, so we know exactly what we can use, what we can bundle and incinerate, and the rest we separate and we relay onto either someone who we can sell it to, for example with metals, or we recycle otherwise.
The third-year student of psychology narrates her experience in a foreign country.
Almost had no idea what to expect because it's my first time here, first time in Africa actually. So I was really excited, and I'd seen some of the photos, of course, from the school. I've talked to also the youth groups, and they'd show me around a bit, but it's always disconnected images. So even when I walked to the school first time, it finally just made sense. But definitely I was intimidated at first, especially because I'm here alone, so I'm traveling by myself from the UK. So it was a step, but after 6 weeks I really feel at home. I'm quite sad to leave. So we had, especially because we started 2 years ago and we only launched the project 2 weeks ago. So we've been introducing, we've been planning, we've been talking to the community, to the youth groups, the school for well over a year. And the hard part has been to maintain this enthusiasm, or that the people have to stay very resilient and patient because it's taken so long, and that's what we really appreciate as well, especially the youth group. They've been with us, the one-to-one youth group from Kibera. They've been with us for over a year now, and essentially they haven't seen anything up until now. So that's what's been really special. We've taken a long time to get the funding for the project. We've done it through fundraising and donations. So staying patient, trusting that it'll work out with hard work can be a challenge. Specifically this one, we're running a pilot at the moment. So what that means is it's a 2-month period where we're testing our model, we're testing our business model, how the community is receptive to it, the school, the youths, so that we can then get really good statistics on how well we're running. So how much waste are we collecting, how much waste are we getting rid of, CO2 are we saving, fuel costs are we saving, and that way we hope that we can actually convince some companies to show them, look, this really does work. So we chose this space specifically because they already had a cooker. It was built in 2017. Because there was no business model and enough training, it was only used 3 times and then it was shut down. So we thought, look, this is already existing. That's why we always say, make use of existing resources and then bring it back to life.
Anna clearly understands the value and importance of community participation for a successful community project.
We really tried to work with different communities. So we have the school on board, we have the youth groups, we have the children from the school who are bringing their waste. And what our role is specifically is more the managing, bringing some ideas, trying to get connections so that we can expand our project, receive funding. So what we've really tried to do, of course, we've been putting in the whole hard work so that in the end, the business and the food program is meant to run on its own. That all we're really doing, us in the UK and some volunteers from St. Paul's here as well, we're helping to manage anything, answer any questions, expand, but the project itself runs on its own with the youths, with the school and the children. In the morning we make, it kind of depends always, sometimes we make porridge, sometimes the milo. In the afternoons we have rice and beans or githeri. Right now we've made chapatis, but that's more of a treat when there's a bit extra money there. So that it always depends on the day, but it can do all of those things in a souffleur, like on the pan specifically, in the bread oven, or boiling water and adding things to that. And then in the afternoons we bake bread to sell and gain an income for our employees.
Mildred Kalakala ndo napika chapati, pia tumepika bread. Yeah, I'm responsible for the bread and the chapatis. Yeah.
We have been operating as a youth group, and there is Ally who had approached us, but that day they didn't find us. Tulikuwa Kibra, so they had found one of the Y254 member, and he had given them my contacts. So he had reached me and asked me that there was a project that they were willing for us to help them.
Kwa group inaitwa Y254, lakini currently we are working with Taka Zero. Na hapa I'm the operator of the cooker. Na refuel hiyo takataka kuja ndo mimi na fuel. Ndio ikuwe na hiyo combustion ya energy.
Tua Kennedy Ruino. Mimi ndio na collect takataka kutoka huko naleta hapa. Mimi nafanya kazi na watu wa Y254 na Taka Zero.
My name is Michael Odhiambo, a student at St. Paul's University, third year, and I am a volunteer at Taka Zero. Yeah, we are.
So my name is Emmanuel Omondi. I'm a third year at St. Paul's University doing communication studies. Yeah, at Taka Zero I'm also a volunteer.
It's John Onayo. I'm a student at St. Paul's University, and I heard about Taka Zero from my friend. So we reached to Anne. We came during the launching. They were launching the Taka Zero at MCO. And so far so good. The project has received positive feedback from the people outside there. When we've shared the story with the students at school, they're happy about it.
There is so much optimism on the future of Taka Zero.
I personally value this idea. I've done a workshop on this, and what I found is like human connections, because I think the best things happen when you work together, and even if it's just a random interaction with someone on the street when you say hi and then something comes out of it, I think I really value that. That often can just make my day a lot better, just having one happy interaction or one interaction where you learn something. So yeah, being open-minded, and just open-minded to learning, because I know I've done a lot of mistakes as well during the project, and then yeah, having grace and letting yourself learn and do better next time. Because I believe in what we're doing, and I think that it's a really special project and really special the people who we work with. I think there's definitely been times, especially these 6 weeks, where I'm really tired. But it's normal, and I think what I feel so like at home here, and I find it very motivating to see how well it's being received, how happy also the children are to have this project that they're contributing to, and I really, really believe that it can really help to facilitate for growth. Even the fact children shouldn't be learning on an empty stomach, so if we can help in any way, we can really create a better learning environment that's clean and where the children are happy and not hungry. And the same with the community. I think I like this idea that maybe it could give hope, and that other youths will be empowered to do the same. Because even now, sometimes I talk to the security guys close by to where I live, and I've talked about the project, and now they keep telling me their ideas. And I find that is a really cool thing, that maybe other people start to think of how they can help their community, something they're passionate in, and then I think we can make not just this, every area has so many places that you can improve. I think what has really impressed me, or what's stuck with me the most, is how giving everyone is. So when they always ask you what you're doing, and when you tell them about the project or you tell them about any problems you're having yourself, everyone seems to want to help.
For a project to run smoothly, there should be specific strategies to ensure adherence to a clear path to success.
Just want to expand our model to different areas and work with different communities. So we want to make sure that even if we go to our next project, we want it to be in Kibera, but it doesn't mean that Taka Zero will look exactly the same there. So we'll keep adapting. We'll make sure that if we work with the school there, which we're thinking of, we listen to the needs of the school, see if they have the same ones here, and adapt. We'll work with the youth group there and adapt, so that everywhere we go, we have a similar mission of cleaning the community, helping the youths, and providing a really sustainable food model for a school. But it adapts and it grows with time. What we're trying to do as a project is to help that process. And so by having the community cook, for example, we reduce the fuel costs of the school by 85%. So that money can contribute to the food that they buy. And if we've now partnered with Nestle for Healthier Kids, they've built a kitchen garden. So this is also extra vegetables that they can farm themselves and add to the meals.
This is called multi-storing garden. We have sukuma wiki and spinach, carrots and corianders. We have managu, onions, and this I don't know.
Managu.
Yes, managu.
Pollution is merely a resource that isn't being used properly, and Taka Zero has got it all figured out.
Y254 is a reformed and transformed youth group trying to create opportunities for the youth inside Kibera and outside Kibera. So currently we were doing garbage collection, but didn't did well because we didn't have the dumping sites. So when we came and hear the idea of the Taka Zero, then we decided to partner with them because our problem had been solved because we were just collecting taka, but we didn't have the place to dump.
The way that we interact with the environment, and how maybe we often in all cultures and all communities feel a bit disconnected from the climate crisis specifically and what we can do, because it seems like such a big issue. And so in that way, I guess it is slightly trying to figure out how we can motivate individual people that even a small step can help to clean the environment and can actually make an impact. So specifically, One Youth Group, they're from Kibera and they are running the project at the moment. So we're training them. There's a 2-week training program that happens to learn how the community cooker operates, how the recycling process works, and the bread baking.
One way it has impacted this organization positively, basically positively. One, I told you about the lunch. I want you to imagine a child from Mathare eating chapati in school. Today you just saw full enrollment of class 8 and 7, however much we are in tuition, but they just knew that they were going to take chapati. That is very important. We can't take it for granted. So as the Taka people came in and the Community Cooker Foundation, it has impacted our lives.
One thing I know about this project, it will greatly impact people, because actually it has started impacting the lives of people, because we have youths that are getting employed, we have children who can get at least food when they come to school, because you understand the situation of not everyone can afford that daily 3 meals during the day. So one thing, it's a big up to the Taka Zero team. I'm a volunteer at Taka Zero. We are happy to work with them and to help them when they require any type of help. Because we say tunajengana wote. So that's all I can say about Taka Zero. And I want to urge other youths out there, if you can channel your energy towards something that will create positivity in the society, not necessarily you can also channel that not necessarily through charity or any other way that you can give back to the society, then that one will be okay, because at the end of the day, people will appreciate you. God himself will also bless you in his own way, and you'll also get to interact with many people. Yeah.
There is so much optimism on the future of Taka Zero.
I think one of the main people I'd want to thank are definitely the head teacher and the deputy head, so Mr. Kennedy and Madame Lynette. I find them so inspiring. They put their heart and soul into the school, into the children. You'll see them here on the weekend, late nights when they don't know how to feed the children the next day. And you can really see they're doing this with their heart and soul, as if every single child is their own. And to have that type of work ethic and care and love, I find really, really inspiring.
Personally, to me, I love helping people. It is just in me. That's what I can say. And I find joy in volunteering in things like this. I find motivated when I interact with people. Okay, I also love interacting with different types of people. So you see, when I'm here, I've met new people. I've met you guys. I've met the other members from Taka Zero. So that networking is what also keeps me going, and that empathy of helping people, in the society.
Yeah, thank the community, everyone who's received me really open-heartedly. He smiles on me on the street and makes me feel like I'm we can work together and that we're doing good together.